great vintage. Today's DIY is a mock-up of Fixer Upper's supermarket sign. I've been in love with it ever since I saw it the first time, and finally I got a silhouette. Yay! So I can cut my own vinyl. If you don't have a silhouette, we'll post our link to our website below and I'll have the vinyl for sale for you. If you do have a silhouette, you can just cut out the vinyl letters and get them ready for this project. We're gonna start off with, of course, Fairy Chalk Mother paint. We're gonna be using Snowflake, and we're also gonna be using Best Black. And we have our palette sign here. If you don't know how to take apart a palette, be sure to check the link below, and Zeb has a great video on how to take apart one quickly. I want to show you how he assembled this sign. It's not too complicated, so I don't think it'll take very long, but I'll show you. So we have 13 lengths of palette board here. We took 4 and put them across the back, and then cut one in half and put it here and here, and we just screwed them to secure it, so that way we could hold all of our boards together. Then on the front, you'll see we've got another 8 palette boards. So you just need 13 palette boards cut up. Take whichever ones you like the best. We left them kind of rough and rustic because I wanted it to look like an old sign. We made sure that we sanded down our palettes with our belt sander. You could also use a rotary sander, but a belt sander made it quick work and it's nice and smooth and I won't get any splinters. Step 1 is to paint black. We're painting the letter color first because we're going to put the vinyl over the top and then paint the background color second. It's kind of backwards of how you would think doing a sign would be, but since we're using vinyl, that's the way we have to do it. I'm going to get this all painted and we'll let it dry and we'll get our vinyl on. So our board has dried and we're going to add our vinyl so that way we can paint the white over the top and finish our sign. I use my spatula and go over the transfer tape and run over the whole thing. When you get vinyl from me, it'll come just like this, with the transfer tape over the top and the back around the back. So you want to go over the whole thing with your spatula. If you start to take the vinyl off and it's starting to stick to the backing and not the transfer tape, then you just need to go over it a little bit more. Sometimes I use my finger if I'm in a pinch, but this spatula works pretty good. Anyways, I've already gone over this whole thing. I've measured it to make sure that we're center. My letters are 10 inches tall and about 72 inches long. I think they're 71.9, but pretty close to 72. So I'm going to take my transfer tape, and if you've done it correctly, your vinyl will stick to the transfer tape. And I'm going to get started. I peel a little bit at a time. And just pull this back as I go. So you're going to want to keep pushing down and pulling the vinyl. It's really important. Before I got started, I measured from the top of the letter to the top and the top of the letter to the top, bottom, and on each side just to make sure it was centered on my board. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you don't want it to be crooked either. And you don't want to push too much because you may have to move it around. So I like to lay it on there and then I'll remeasure and make sure that I'm centered. So I have about 4 inches on each side. From the end of the letter is 5 1/4. I think we may need to move it. I think it moved too far that way. Okay, so now that we've made sure that it's centered, we're going to go ahead and secure the vinyl before we pull the contact paper off. I'm going to use my spatula again and push this down. You're going to want to go over each letter nice and slow. And pull slowly in case it starts to pill up. Go slow and kind of hold the vinyl down. Because this is pallet wood, the vinyl doesn't adhere as easily. I'm going to go ahead and peel the rest of this off. It is a little more difficult because your pallet wood isn't super even. If you wanted this to be a little more even and easy to put the vinyl on, you could just buy a 1x12 and cut it the right amount of length instead of using the pallet wood. have taken and rubbed over all of it with my finger to make sure it's secure, but I am not gonna lie, if you don't have patience, you might want to do this with a 1x12 instead of pallet wood, because I almost poked my eye out, but I survived. So next step, vinyl's on. We're gonna paint with Fairy Chalk Mother and Snowflake, and I kind of want like a whitewashed effect, so I don't want to put on a ton of paint. I don't want it solid, and I'm gonna softly go over my letters because I don't want to get paint underneath the vinyl. And I may have to take a foam brush and touch some of them up. Our white paint is dry, our snowflake. I'm gonna go ahead and peel off the vinyl. Don't be alarmed if a little bit of the paint got underneath, because I'm gonna distress this, and I can always go back with a foam brush and touch up anywhere where it leaked through. If you do this not on a palette, it actually will secure a little better and you won't get as much bleed through, but being that it's on a rough palette, it's hard for the vinyl to adhere. Removed all the vinyl, the next step is going to be distress to show some age. And part of the reason I didn't just paint the middle part black, I painted the whole thing black, is because I want some of that black from underneath to show through. So I've got my rotary sander here. You could also use a sanding block if you wanted to, or just a regular sander, but this is what I prefer for signs. And I've got 120 grit sandpaper on here. Our sign is all finished. I think it turned out amazing. I've wanted a supermarket sign ever since I saw it the first time on Fixer Upper. Be sure to go to JamiRayVintage.com to look for the vinyl we used here today, along with the paint that we used, Fairy Chalk Mother and Best Black and Snowflake. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Jami Ray Vintage for more DIY.